Welcome to Corrections Mama 27 channel. So today this is a story about officers and supervisors acting inappropriately, mainly the supervisor. So this is a true story. It happened at Perryville on my unit. And I was there when this happened, and I could see two sides of the story, but I'm going to side with the CO, honestly. So this is what happened. We were really short all the time, and they would do things like it's called mandating. So that means at the end of the shift, if day shift or swing shift or whatever shift you were leaving, if the relieving shift comes in short, you have to report to a supervisor's office, or you get a phone call. If you're lucky, usually they didn't call you. They just left you there wondering, where's my relief? And then you have to call them and say, hey, where's my relief? They're horrible about it. So inconsiderate. I hated that about the department. So they would mandate you, which means that they don't have enough staff, and so some people are going to have to stay to fill in those slots until the people that are late come in, or 4 hours overtime at the minimum. Sometimes you could do 8 if you wanted to, or volunteers would call and say, hey, I'll stay. And if you didn't want to stay, then they would make you do an information report and want to know why, because they're nosy, none of their business. I mean, like, we don't have a life, right? Like, we don't have appointments. Like, maybe we just need to go get some rest. Maybe we're sick. They don't care. They just want to know why, so they can intimidate you and try to make you feel bad for not staying. Well, maybe if they treated their staff better, they wouldn't be so short, right? So anyway, that's what the mandation means. And this one particular supervisor, I'll just call her Supervisor Smith. I actually really don't remember her name. I actually think it was a lieutenant. But anyway, so we were at Perryville. We were getting relieved, and they made everybody, they said on the radio, the entire shift needs to report to the sergeant's office before they leave. So we had to go into the sergeant's office, and we're all standing around waiting for everyone to show up. Keep in mind, we don't get paid for this extra time. They don't pay for us for it. They don't care. So then we're just like hanging out, waiting, and everyone shows up, and then we hear the supervisor get on the phone. Or wait, no, she got on the radio. She got on the handheld radio and said, main control, lock all the doors. Do not let any of graveyard shift out, because we have to mandate people. What? Now they're treating us like an inmate? We're not convicted felons. The supervisor's trying to tell us we can't go home. And they're not going to pay us for standing around waiting for them to decide who they're going to mandate and who they're not. That really ticks me off. I really don't like it when people don't respect the value of my time. So it pissed off a few people. And most of us just stand around like, okay, this is some BS we got to just endure, right? Well, I'm going to call this guy Officer Major. Officer Major was really ticked off about this. And we've all been, it's been boiling up. We've all been mad about the way they do this. And for her to get on the radio and tell main control to lock the doors and not open the doors for our shift to leave, that's really irritating. Besides, by the end of the shift on graveyards, you're tired. You're tired as heck. You know, you gotta go. You got bags under your eyes are all red, you're like, ugh. So, Officer Major got ticked off, and he picked up the phone. And he called 911. And he got a hold of the dispatcher, and he told the dispatcher, my name is Officer Major. I'm at Perryville Prison, and our supervisor has advised main control to lock all the doors and not to let the shift leave. And we're being held hostage here. This isn't right. I want a response. Man, were they mad about that. So I'm pretty sure he was under investigation and he had to go through all this and fight his way through the disciplinary. But he had a point. You can't hold us hostage. You cannot tell us we can't go home. I don't care who you are. We're not convicted felons. And sometimes these supervisors, they would treat us and manage us like we're inmates. And it was horrible. Like, you shouldn't treat people like that. So anyway, kudos to Major. Kudos to you, dude, for calling 911 and making a point. Somebody had to do it, right? That was a really strong point. I'm wondering if maybe he thought this out. I believe he did, the way it went down. I think he thought this out before it happened and decided the next time they do this BS, that's what I'm going to do. And I think it was pretty smart because it drew a lot of attention to the kind of BS that these administrators are doing. And who knows, maybe the lieutenant was instructed by an administrator to close the doors, to get on the radio and tell them not to let us go. How can they do that? I don't even think that's legal. That's not legal. That is kidnapping, right? But how do they get away with it? Well, they just do whatever they want, don't they? You know, it's just jacked up. It's just so messed up. So kudos to you for calling 911. Then after that, of course, there's always, some fallout from that. So what happened from that is they took all the phones and they routed any 911 calls that go out to main control. So we couldn't actually use 911 and call. And they had more control over that kind of a situation, which was kind of messed up too, So now you can't even call 911 from any of the regular phones. The only one you can call from is the main control phone. And there were other situations that came up with. Like I did a video on an inmate that called 911 from the control room, the 3-in-1 video. Check it out. An inmate broke into the control room, got a hold of a phone and started calling 911 and said he was being held hostage. But he was an inmate. He wasn't being held hostage. He was a convicted felon. So anyway, that's the story about the officer major that called 911. And honestly, I thought it was a good thing. That lieutenant never did that BS again. And she shouldn't have. That was horrible. I was standing there listening to her on the radio telling them to lock us in. I was like, what the duck? Are you kidding me? I got things to do. I don't have time for this BS. You know what I mean? So anyway, stay safe. Please like, share, subscribe, and push that notification bell. And if you have any questions, ask them so I can make a video about your question if I think it's going to make a good video.